Hey everybody, Ryan Medora here, and welcome back to another bass lesson. And today we are talking about, one of my favorite Duck Dunn bass lines, Stax, Otis Redding, this tune Down in the Valley, and we're going to break it down and go through all of the fun stuff. This is a great lesson with like a little bit of theory, chord progressions, all the goodness. And if you want to get tab or notation, anything to support the lesson here, or really anything at this channel, please head over to my Patreon page and you can support there and get all the goodies. And it's awesome to have your support. So please do the thing. Anyway, let's get into this lesson. And I'll tell you a little bit about why I chose this song. Frankly, it's awesome. It's got a great 8-bar form, which we're going to go into. It's one of my favorite Duck Dunn bass lines and is just a classic kind of commit to a groove kind of lesson, but it also has a little bit of variation. So we're going to talk a little bit about how you can kind of do the little busier parts, but also keep it really simple. So as we go into it, let's talk about the basic music theory stuff. It's an Otis Redding tune that actually I believe was written by Solomon Burke, but Otis put his own spin on it, and this is a Stax record, so it sounds just really great, classic soul R&B from Memphis. And the form of it is going to be in the key of F, where F is our 1 chord or our tonic, and we're going between an F chord and a C chord, or the 5 chord. So if you think about playing an F major scale, the C is going to be scale degree 5, and we're really just going between these two chords, the F chord, the 1, and the C chord, which is the 5, and sometimes we'll talk about this from a functional harmony standpoint as the tonic to dominant. Sometimes I like to put those two words together into one, but really the tonic, which is the 1 chord, and the dominant, which is the 5 chord. We also have an 8-bar form, meaning like a lot of songs will kind of keep the same chord progression throughout the whole thing, and once you learn those bars, then you've got it. So like a 12-bar blues form, a lot of times we'll jam and do things on a 12-bar blues, because once you learn the sequence of the chords in that 12-bar form, you just repeat it throughout the course of the song. This is a very similar thing, but instead of a 12-bar form, we have an 8-bar form. So once we learn this kind of like 8-bar form that we have, that's going to be played through the verses and choruses, most of the song, kind of until the outro. But once you learn that sequence, that's what we do. So the sequence of the chords here, again, we're going to be just going between the F chord, the 1, and the 5 chord, the C, and we're going to do 2 bars on the F chord. So if you think about this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. Then we go to our C chord, and we're going to be on that C chord for 4 bars. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to return to the F for 2 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. And that's going to be our 8-bar form. So 2 bars on the F, 4 bars on the C, 2 bars on the F, 8 total. Once you get this chord progression down, it's just going to repeat. So now let's talk a little bit about the bass part for this. This is kind of very classic Duck Dunn soul R&B stuff, where it's a pretty simple line that kind of we commit to the line. We get into it and we kind of stick to it. And we're going to be playing the root, the lower 5th of the chord. So you can kind of play F, and then now when we play the C, we're going to be just thinking about that as the part of our chord as we're on the F. So think about it as like the root note and then the 5th of the chord when we play the lower C. If we were playing a country bass line, we would just go back and forth between that. But we're gonna add a little soul to it by playing the root, the 5th, and then walking up chromatically back to the root. So we're gonna go root, 5th, flat 7, natural 7, to the root again. So this is great because it kind of deals with our descending intervals, where we're approaching the root. We're not starting on a low note and working our way up. We're starting on the higher note, playing the lower 5th, flat 7, natural 7, back to the root. And so rhythmically, we're going to do this. Pretty simple, just 2 quarter notes on the 1, the F. We've got some eighth notes here on the 5, the C. And then we also are going to work our way up. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1. If we want, we can add a dead note. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. So I'm kind of playing some dead notes as I play that C. So I'm going to play roots, and then play a dead note before those 2 attacks on the C. So if you want to think about it, that dead note is kind of happening just before beat 3. So a 3 and, a 3 and, if you want to think about it that way. So again, this is a really great way to kind of start integrating dead notes into your playing, because it's a simple thing, but it adds a little bit of groove. So if I play it without the dead note, it'll sound like this. With the dead note, it just gives it that little bit of a pop, which is pretty cool. So once you get this down, we're going to play that twice on our F chord. But as we move to our C, we're going to change the bass line just a little bit. Just to kind of set up landing on our C. So on that second time, instead of walking chromatically up like that, we're going to do a move like that where instead of playing E flat, E, F, I'm going to go E flat, my open D string, and then I'm going to land on the C, and that's going to set up the arrival to the 5 chord, or the arrival to that C chord. So 1 time regular on the F, variation to set up C, and now we play our bass line. And we're going to return to the F with a little variation. So when we're on that C chord, again, we're playing the same exact thing. We've just moved everything back a string. So here's our C, the lower 5th of the chord, flat 7, natural 7, back to the root. We're going to play that for 3 regular times. The 4th time, we're going to do a little move. So 3 regular times. The last time, what I'm doing is I'm going to play the root note, the 5th, and then I'm going to take that chromatic walk, and instead of walking it back up to the C, I'm going to do that move 1 string over to set myself up to the F. So you can kind of see that the whole thing here is kind of taking this bass line that we play over a chord, but we change it a little bit as we switch to the next chord in our chord progression. And this is really like the fundamental thing about bass playing. It's about knowing the chord that you're on, knowing where you're going, and then making those little adjustments to the part that you're playing to set up the arrival to the next chord. So like if I had to kind of really just summarize bass playing in general, that's really what it is. Knowing the chord you're on, knowing the chord you're going to, having a part, and then making those adaptations so that you can bring your part to the next chord. That's really fundamental when it comes to blues, soul, R&B, pop, all kinds of playing. And we kind of have a really great example of that here with this simple bass line, integration of some dead notes, easy peasy part to play. And the one cool thing too is there is a little bit of variation. If we want to play a slightly busier part, what we could do is add this. There he was, little fast thing. And all I'm doing there is, as I'm on my C chord, playing the regular groove once, and you can do it the first time, the second time, the third time. There's a little bit of variation here. But what I'm doing is I'm thinking about beat 4, where usually I'm going 4 and 1 to set up the downbeat to the root. This time I can play it as 16th notes, where I go 4, E, and a 1. So I'm basically going the flat 7 of a chord, the 5th, then playing the flat 7, natural 7, back to the 1. So instead of just walking up 4 and 1, I'm going 4, E, and a 1. So adding that little bit of a thing, and it's really cool once you integrate it. So you could do it regular, and then see, it's just like a cool little thing. So you can feel free to add this variation at different moments within the bass line. And that's one of the cool things about Duck Dunn's playing too, is that like he'll commit to a thing He'll play the groove, and then he'll usually do slight adaptations to make it a little busier or to just add something special. So that's really the crux of it. This is the tune. So go give it a listen. Get this bass line under your fingers. If you want to get tab notation, anything like that, please head over to my Patreon and know that this is the perfect song for learning simple groove, integrating the 8-bar form and getting that into your psyche and feeling that musical symmetry, using dead notes, adding a little variation. It's really got all the things that's perfect for any kind of beginner to intermediate player. And it's awesome also to have under your fingers if you go to a blues jam or something like that. So I hope you dug this lesson. Have a great day, everybody. Happy practicing and keep it groovy.